was the this whole thing with the bicycle? Are you saying that this whole bicycle incident did not happen? Where did that generate from? Was that the police explanation?
The police report says, you've got the police report, you can see what it says. This is a Hartford police officer writing, I was in an unmarked police vehicle at the corner of Ford and Pearl Street when I observed the accused suddenly ride a mountain bike at a high rate of speed directly up to the parade route, dump the bicycle, jumping off of it, and then running up to the parade procession directly in front of where the governor was passing by in the procession. I immediately recognized the accused as Kenneth Krajewski from the photograph provided by the state police. As I exited my vehicle and ran towards the accused, I observed state police detective Pedro Rosado approached the accused just as the accused was stepping off the curb into the parade route toward the governor. Detective Rosado placed himself between the accused and the governor's path. I then grabbed the accused by his right arm and escorted him away from the governor and the parade route, which he resisted by attempting to pull away from me. I asked the accused who he was. He told me he was Kenneth Krajewski. I then handcuffed the accused and informed him that he was under arrest for breach of peace. All right? All right. His photos indicate that he was standing apparently in the middle of the street on a median, you know where it is over by the arch there, taking a whole series of photos of the parade coming by. And apparently his version is he was stepping off the curb to return to the sidewalk. All right? Now, unless there's something missing here, I don't see how that is a breach of peace.
Is the breach of peace a violation?
Is that a violation?
Breach of peace is a 6-month misdemeanor, 6 months in prison maximum sentence. It's a misdemeanor. It's a crime. And by the way, I don't know what the whole story is, but he apparently he was riding a bike because they seized his bike in connection with his offense, and apparently he does ride a bike, and I believe he may have been taking photos at different points along the parade route. But nonetheless, whatever happened to be, the police knew who he was. He's standing in the street taking pictures of a parade going by, and he was arrested for that. And I mean, that's not right. Excuse me?
Where the police got the photo, or
We don't know of him?
Yeah.
Apparently he had an earlier arrest for civil disobedience, just like I do. I was arrested in Stamford for sitting in the street. Were you there that day?
I was at a nursing home demonstration by the unions, and I was arrested.
Yeah, so I mean, to me, civil disobedience, I was a justice for janitors thing in Stamford.
Yes,
yeah.
we were there. I was
And, you know, civil disobedience is an accepted form of political expression as long as you're prepared to take the consequences, which we all took. So I was taken into custody and brought to the police department like everybody else. But that's he probably had his photo from there.
And let me just add again, you know, whether the facts of the case are borne out or not, I think the really riveting thing about this was the fact that it was revealed that there was this list, and we don't know yet whether this is some ongoing list that's used for more than one event, and I think that was the shocking thing to many of us. I guess, you know, maybe other people are not as shocked by this as I was, but I certainly was, that in the state of Connecticut that you could have this list that was very arbitrarily formed. I mean, that's the issue. How do you get on the list? Who has the right to put you on that list? And what's the intersection of the national FBI people and the local and the state police? And I mean, nobody has an objection to somebody trying to figure out if there's going to be a problem at an event and if it's dangerous. But this goes well beyond that, and that's the point.
Are you going to ask for copies of that list, and are you going to make that list public?
Absolutely. We will get to the bottom of it, and we will do it publicly. I mean, I really think we need to know what this agency is doing around this area of terrorism and suspicion based on what?
What happens if a person goes and files for a permit with the police department in that locality to do a protest, does it legitimately and honestly, and then the police department says no because we believe that you're a threat, just in this case here? Now, that's trampling on the right to protest. And you know, lawful protest. That's a concern to me. In addition, the governor has state police assigned to her for her protection, which is proper. You know, surveillance could have been done if that was the issue. It didn't have to. This to me just seems a terrible overreaction. And even at the ball itself, you know, a person has to purchase a ticket to get in. You know, think it through, the logical sequence of events that could have happened, or that protections that were already in place. And this is just a terrible overreaction that, again, affects us all as individuals.
And let's just underscore the fact he wasn't protesting. He had done nothing in any way to interfere with the parade, or there's and the governor herself in her letter indicates that that's the case. So that he was not he is someone who might have protested on any other given day, but he wasn't protesting. He was taking photos as a journalist for a blog. He was standing there in just the same way that you or I would stand in such a place. And so he hadn't done anything wrong. The police could ask him what he's up to, could just size him up like the Secret Service would do. When the president is around, that's acceptable. That's not what they did. They arrested him and locked him up for 13 hours. That is the problem here. And the other thing I want to mention is I've gotten some of this information I've gotten recently, and I was not aware that this involved the Office of Homeland Security, so we need to talk to them as well. And apparently this involves the FBI as well, so I think U.S. Attorney O'Connor will have to explain a little bit what participation they had, if any, in this, the FBI. But obviously they're beyond our reach of, they don't necessarily have to cooperate with us, but this, based on the police report and the website, it indicates that the FBI would have been involved in this as well. So that, for understandable reasons, that's even more troubling, but we'll have to sort that out as well.
Do you mean the State Department?
State Department of Homeland Security. It's from their website. The question is, what is the Connecticut Intelligence Center, which is mentioned in the police report? What is that? And if you Google it, you'll come up with the website of the Connecticut Department of Homeland Security, where they explain what it is. Denise read the explanation before, and it is coordinated apparently by the FBI. And so that's where this all got started. And so I'd like to know, who was it that read this relatively innocuous comment on the internet and decided that was a threat to the governor? You know, I'd like to know which law enforcement professional made that determination. So we'll find out.
Do you mind commenting on the news that Larry Alabozic was sentenced to a year home confinement and 5 years probation, since you were on the inquiry committee?
Yeah, well, I just read that a minute ago before I came down here. You know, yeah. I get.
Pay back in $10,000 worth of gold.
I'm just running a lot of smarmy comments through my head, but I'm not going to say anything. Well, you know, I mean, look, I hope one message that got out loudly and clearly from that whole scandal is that, you know, you're just not going to get away with that kind of stuff anymore. You know, this is a new day, and having been a member of that committee, the thing that struck me the most, apart from the conduct of the people involved, is the fact that if you've got the right resources, you can pretty much put together any paper trail in detecting corruption. And Alabozic's testimony was very helpful when it came to the federal prosecution, but he was missing in action during the entirety of the special inquiry that we did. So he was not a part of the impeachment. He wasn't one of the sources in the impeachment process. Apparently he was helpful to the FBI and the federal prosecutors. But, you know, and it's analogous to this situation, too. Things have changed a lot. You know, things you could get away with in the good old days, you just can't get away with anymore. And I think because of the bloggers and because of the communication age and because of the fact you can read the police report online and you can put these photos online instantly, I think that changes the way everybody does their job. And maybe 30 years ago, the police could just lock somebody up because they were a potential problem. Not anymore. And in light of what's going on in D.C., until recently at least, with the apparent violation of people's constitutional rights and the position the executive took down there, that they could just do whatever they feel like, I think we're not going to tolerate that stuff in Connecticut. So, and you will get caught and you will be held accountable, and we'll find out when all is said and done exactly who did what and who made what decisions in this situation. And I hope, it seems like the governor and the Commissioner of Public Safety are prepared to find out what the story is and hold people accountable, and we'll do the same thing, and we'll change the public policy if it's necessary to make sure this doesn't happen again.